and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and here's what we are tracking for you this morning. Cleanup is underway, and some are still without power after a wet and windy weekend in the Pacific Northwest. We'll show you a recap of the trees that fell and caused damage and show you the aftermath. While winter is a ways off, the cold temperatures are here in Colorado. Skiers are already hitting the slopes, and we're taking a look at how bugs survive in frigid temperatures. And an unlikely fugitive finally taken into custody. Yep, how this young bear was caught red-handed in an unlikely place. Plus, we're taking a look at the hurricane impacting Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5, close to making landfall. We're keeping an eye on the latest on Hurricane Melissa today. Hello and happy Monday to you. Welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. We begin today in the Pacific Northwest. Western Washington and Oregon are mopping up after an atmospheric river brought heavy rain and wind this weekend. We're going to show you some of those visuals of some of the most severe damage from around the region. I believe that's Hurricane Melissa right there, but we'll get you those visuals from the Pacific Northwest. In the Northwest, tree branches fell on power lines, cars, and even homes. At the storm's peak, more than 200,000 people were without power in Washington state. The storm turned deadly on Saturday. One person died in southern Washington when a tree fell on people at a Halloween event. There's those visuals now. You see that tree down on a car. Several others were injured in southern Washington when that tree killed one person. Here's more visuals. Wow, you can see that tree actually coming down. The skies were gray. It was a very active weekend in Washington. Friday brought rain. Saturday brought heavy wind. And Sunday brought mountain snow. So every day brought a different setup. These visuals just incredible there. You see the tree completely uprooted. And that was a common trend around the Pacific Northwest all weekend long. We do know some trees did impact buildings, causing damage. And at this point today, we're now in cleanup mode. Crews have been working so hard this weekend to not only get power back on the grid for many, for those hundreds of thousands, but also cleaning up roadways and the damage as well. So we will continue to keep an eye on that damage, but I do want to show you satellite and radar imagery of that storm. This is a loop of the last 48 hours, so we'll let it start over here. You can see that rain, that wind, thunderstorm activity. It was a very active weekend in the Northwest. And we actually hit some pretty big milestones in Seattle specifically. We'll take you to Washington. So actually Friday, SEA did see more than an inch of rain, and that inch of rain fell in just a 15-hour span. That is the most rain we have seen in one single day since December 5th, 2023, so nearly 2 years. Seattle has that reputation, as we know, of being rainy, but we typically see a little bit of rain at a time. So to see more than an inch of rain in one day is significant, and we did that on Friday. So it was rain on Friday, but then it was wind on Saturday. That's what prompted all of those issues you saw from those visuals of trees down. In fact, Hoquiam, which is an area kind of to the southwest in Washington, saw a gust of 77 miles per hour. So that was the strongest gust observed in Washington on Saturday. The wind calmed down on Saturday, but then the snow fell. Significant mountain snow at pass level as well started to fall for the Cascade Mountains. That's a highly traveled mountain range in Washington. It divides the state in kind of smack dab in the middle, going north to south. So highly traveled, especially on weekends. So to see snow on a Sunday early in the season, a lot of people unfortunately didn't check the forecast, and it was a busy weekend on the passes. But a good reminder for everybody that snow is here, and if you are doing any pass travel anywhere in the United States, it is a good reminder to check the forecast and make sure that you are prepared for that winter weather. All right, we now want to go to meteorologist Rich Marriott in Seattle, where crews continue to bring power back to communities impacted by that wind-driven power outage this weekend. And Rich is also taking a look at the next storm already on the horizon for the Pacific Northwest and our Halloween forecast. We're getting a look at that. It's looking like a wet one in Washington. Rich.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott. Well, we got through a stormy weekend, that's for sure, around western Washington. We had all those winds on Saturday afternoon and evening. Our maximum wind gusts that afternoon and evening got up to a 56-mile-per-hour wind gust at SeaTac, and out at the Hoquiam Airport along the coast, they actually had a 77-mile-per-hour wind gust. So winds, hurricane force winds definitely out there, and did cause a lot of power outages around western Washington, many of which are still getting repaired here on this Monday morning. And well, things have definitely quieted down. We did have a fair amount of rain around yesterday. Today, most of the rain has been actually to the north of Everett and south of Seattle, showers anyway, and we have a little bit of rain shadowing thanks to that westerly flow coming off the Pacific. The Central Sound has been pretty dry from the rain shadow of the Olympics, which is helpful for the commute there. But overall, everybody's going to see those showers decrease and should be seeing a little bit of sunshine this afternoon for a chance to start cleaning things up. We check how we're doing for the month of October. If you recall, really April, May, and beyond through the summer, it's been very dry. We've been far behind on our rainfall, but October is kind of keeping pace. You can see we're running less than an inch behind for everybody. In fact, almost less than a half inch behind. Hoquiam out there along the coast and towards the coast has been particularly shy on rain. They're almost on normal for this time of the year. So definitely October getting us back on track in terms of our rainfall. Looking at the Port Angeles Tower Cam, seeing some clearing there. Dazzling fall color showing up in that shot as well with a little bit of sunshine, and we should see that sunshine spreading over the area later on today. Still pretty cloudy there around the Everett area. Those skies beginning to brighten just a little bit. And in Tacoma, after seeing quite a few showers earlier today, we're seeing the sun trying to break out, and we do have a little bit of south wind, but nothing serious compared to what we saw over the weekend for sure. Our 7-day forecast, you can see we do dry out later today. We will see another round of rain moving in later Tuesday into early Wednesday and just a few showers. Not a whole lot in that one. We get a totally dry day on Thursday. That's something we should treasure when we see it. And then as we head into Halloween, unfortunately, it does look like there's going to be a system moving in, which may give us rain in the afternoon and evening. It looks like it's a two-part system. There's another part that moves on Saturday. There is a little, like a 6-hour window in between those two, which right now looks like it's later on Friday evening into early Saturday morning, but that could shift. I'll show you more on that here in just a moment for that all-important trick-or-treating on Friday night. Across the passes, well, we did see some snow up there. Snoqualmie Pass mostly saw rain, though, and today it's bare and wet with some slush in places, and Stevens Pass has snow on the road. But overall, the DOT says traction tires are advised for all the mountain passes, which is always a good thing for this time of the year. And you don't want to get the skis out quite yet. We did get some snow in the ski areas themselves. The bases didn't get very much, but you can see the snow levels are popping right back up again this week, between about 5,000 and 8,000 feet, as we're going to see some warmer storms move in. But we're going to gradually work that down and hopefully start to accumulate some snow as we get a little ways into November, which is not far away right now. Checking the satellite image, another atmospheric river headed our way as we head towards later tomorrow and Wednesday. But keeping in mind, atmospheric rivers is kind of a renaming of what we spoke of as warm fronts and cold fronts. Still are embedded in there, but it's basically recognizing that tap between the subtropics with us bringing the moisture up. Now, last week, you recall, we had this band approaching us, but the band extended all the way down to just south of Japan. If we spin around the globe there and take a look from the Japanese satellite, you can see that there's breaks in that, so we're not plugged directly into that low latitude subtropical moisture, so less energy to power our storms, so they're not going to be quite as strong as what we saw over the weekend. If we take a quick look at that future cast, you can see and go through the week, we can see that storm moving in as we head towards later tomorrow on into Wednesday. It gives us a round of rain. We get a break as we head into Thursday with some sunshine, and then as we head on towards Friday, you can see we get that system moving in the afternoon. Back edge of that is at the coast, at least in the models right now, around 6 o'clock, and then we kind of stay dry until maybe the late in the evening. So if we can shift that just a little bit earlier, it might land on trick-or-treating. And it's far enough out, it could move in the model. So you can see that second system moves in on Saturday and kind of soaks us down. So we'll keep close watch on that as we get closer to it. Overall for today, though, a few showers this morning, then partly sunny, temperatures getting into the low to mid 50s. Increasing rain in the afternoon tomorrow. See a few showers in the morning to start with, though. Decreasing showers Wednesday. A dry, partly sunny day on Thursday. For Halloween, that increasing rain as we head towards the afternoon, and then a little bit of a break before we have rain at times on Saturday. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And then decreasing showers Sunday. Those highs staying mostly in the low to mid 50s pretty much through the week.
Thank you, Rich. Portland was also pummeled by the same weekend storm. Meteorologist Rod Hill is watching the lingering rain still sticking around for the start of this work week in Oregon.
What a weekend in Portland, and what an early morning rainy mess we had even on this Monday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill coming to you from the Rose City. We had an impact alert for what turned out to be a number of heavy rain showers still coming through Portland early this morning. Chris McGinnis, who handles our traffic report at one point, said there were some 16 different accidents of sorts on our main roadways, rather, in Portland. But now things are finally quieting down, and today will get better and better with skies becoming partly cloudy and mainly dry. The next weather system out to sea in the Pacific is on track to come in Tuesday overnight. And if that's the case, we'd be mainly dry during the day, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we've got some nice weather coming up with the showers starting to quiet down this morning. So this is just a small sampling of what happened to us over the weekend, with the main event that we tracked as forecasters being last Friday and Saturday. Then we ended up having steady rain yesterday that broke into showers in the afternoon. We had the wind reports mainly from Saturday with a second front that came into the Rose City at about 2 o'clock. So on the one hand, I tell you, my house, it just seemed like it rained all weekend. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday day through 5 p.m., Portland only picked up 1.49. I thought that seemed low compared to what the experience was. Salem was roughly the same, 1.57. Peak wind gusts at both the airport in Portland and Salem were 44 and 45 miles per hour on Saturday afternoon when that front came through. Astoria, 51 mile per hour wind gusts, not overly impressive at their airport. But look at the rain, that was impressive. The North Coast picking up 3.48 inches Friday, Saturday, Sunday daytime. We had a report of 2,000 feet in Polk County in the Coast Range, that's the Central Oregon Coast Range, of gusts over 60 miles per hour Saturday. And we had thunderstorms both Sunday and yesterday. Some heavy rain cells that produced gusts of over 50 and may have approached 60 miles per hour. And we had, a handful of reports of trees coming down. Remember this time of the year, when the wind blows and you got the leaves on the trees. Look how beautiful the trees still are. Those leaves are something added for the wind to grab and topple over. So it's always a bit more dangerous this time of the year when you have these wind events. But boy, what a pretty morning it's turned out to be. Partly cloudy skies over our state capital. Oh yeah, Timberline. Look at the snow. Look at it. Good grief. 20 inches at Meadows and 20 inches at Timberline, our two big resorts, and 6 to 7 inches of snow reported at Mount Hood Ski Bowl at pass level. Now our pass highway 26 on Mount Hood is just kind of slushy this morning, and we'll see improving conditions during the day. Some more live cameras. We're starting to quiet down. There's a kind of a mostly cloudy look from Lincoln City. There's Vancouver, kind of partly cloudy. A brighter look from downtown Portland. Futurecast just shows the showers winding down, becoming mainly dry today. And then here's the next shot of rain. This is tomorrow overnight. There it is, Tuesday night. Mainly out of here by Wednesday day. All right, so our 7-day forecast, 56 today, quieting down, and outside of rain Tuesday overnight. This is dry weather Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Does look like we've got a rainy system coming in on Friday that'll produce steady rain Friday evening for our trick-or-treaters.
Still ahead after the break, we will stay in the Northwest and show you the forecasts in Boise and Spokane, plus bugs survive through the winter. But how? We hear from an expert about how those cold temperatures can impact insects. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Cold weather is settling in the Northwest. Idaho is one of those colder spots. In fact, even with daytime warming, highs are still barely warming up. Tyson White is in Boise with an explanation and the forecast.
Hi there, I'm Tyson White from KTVB out here in Boise, and we are taking a look at some of our photos that have been submitted to our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. These are photos out near the Pocatello area that just show the contrast between fall and winter kind of mixing on some of the mountaintops there. You can see some of the oranges and yellows in the trees and the snow falling on some of those mountaintops. Just a beautiful scene out there. So thank you for submitting those. And you can always share those to our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. Speaking of winter scenes here, this is the Redfish Lake Visitor Center. See the snow on some of the vegetation there and the trees, and just a really beautiful shot here. Just nice, showing that contrast to what we saw this weekend from the remnants of those storms that we saw this weekend, that is. And then taking a look at the time lapse from May Marina over McCall, Lake Payette this morning. You see the snow on the docks and the sand there at the beach. Really a beautiful morning. They've seen some foggy conditions out there so far this morning too, so really kind of depends on where you're at out there. Taking a look at our almanac for today, our average high for this time of year is about 59 degrees. We're going to be about 10 degrees below that today at a high about 49 degrees for the city of Trees so far. Overnight lows though, right on par for the average. I do want to point out though, we are normal precipitation totals this month, about 0.8 of an inch. We are already at almost 1.5 inches of rain for the total month of October so far. We picked up quite a bit of that over the weekend as well. Speaking of the rain over the weekend and the weekend conditions, temperatures yesterday were in the upper 40s and low 50s across the Treasure Valley, and the mid 40s there for Magic Valley locations. We also picked up a bit of rain, that is, here across the valley locations. We almost got 0.5 inch there in the Twin Falls area, and this is just the last 24 hours. So this is Sunday into Monday that we saw all this rain that we picked up out there. Doesn't count the snow that was picked up in mountaintops out there though. Speaking of the snow, we're seeing some of that still moving eastward out of the state into Montana and Wyoming. Also seeing some scattered snow showers and rain showers in the Salt Lake Valley out there as well. So if you're traveling, pay attention to that as you head out. Speaking of traveling, winds the next 12 hours here in the Treasure Valley, gusts up to about 15 miles per hour this afternoon. Magic Valley, those gusts could be up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour through this afternoon. We'll continue that tomorrow too. Treasure Valley day planner for today, lots of sunshine out there, but again, it's going to be deceiving because it is going to be cool. 49 degrees is what we're expecting for a daytime high, low 50s here around the Treasure Valley, mid 40s there for Magic Valley locations. Again, sunshine plentiful, but it's going to be deceiving as those temperatures are cool out there. Magic Valley blustery conditions continue, 40s for Jerome and Twin Falls out there. The Central Mountain locations looking like low 40s, upper 30s for Stanley and Sun Valley. Those clouds will start dissipating throughout the afternoon. Here for the Long Valley, we've been seeing some patchy fog across the area. We'll see that continue through the next couple of mornings out there. 52 degrees for Riggins. Mid to low 50s, that is, for the western edge of the Treasure Valley. Temperatures overnight going to be cold too, right around the freezing mark across much of the Treasure Valley. So pay attention to that. If you still have some plants out there that are sensitive to that, you might want to cover those or bring them inside. 7-day forecast showing that cooling today, continuing tomorrow. Like I mentioned, those overnight lows, 32 degrees tomorrow, 34 Wednesday, 33 overnight Thursday morning. So it's going to be a cool start to the day. We'll warm up into the mid 50s for the middle portion of the week. As we get by Friday, that's Halloween. Things are looking pretty decent there, up to about 57 degrees. Trick-or-treaters are looking for good conditions out there, about the upper 40s, low 50s around the 5, 6, 7 o'clock hours out there, and dry. That's going to be the good thing out there. Weekend warming a little bit, up to about the 60s, with a slight chance of showers as we go into Saturday and Sunday.
All right, well, our meteorologists, Rich and Rod, told you about the next storm arriving in Washington and Oregon midweek. That storm is also bringing rain chances to the eastern parts of Washington. Nicole Hernandez is in Spokane tracking that.
I'm Nicole Hernandez in Spokane, Washington, and take a look at our beautiful live look over Riverfront Park this morning. All of these trees just going crazy with the fall colors. I feel like a weekend after the rain, it kind of gets rid of the ones that are a little bit more dull and leaves just those beautiful bright ones there. We got a little bit of wind over the weekend and rain that's starting to move its way out now. The last remnants of that is mountain snow that is currently moving through this morning. We end up with a drier week once that moves out. And then we have cool temperatures for the whole week as well. Take a look at this picture of Lookout Pass. We're recording at about 9 o'clock this morning, so it is 8:54 when this picture was taken. Completely covered in snow, Lookout Pass here. We have been on and off snowing across all of our mountain areas basically all morning long and even last night. Because of that, because of some of these dangerous winter driving conditions, we actually have winter weather advisories in place for parts of North Idaho. This is encompassing 4th of July Pass, Lookout Pass, between overnight last night and up until 11 o'clock this morning. In total, the mountains could see up to 5 inches of snow. This is the exact forecast that everybody asks for, right? Keep the snow up in the mountains and clear down here. So there you go. We had our wish. The reason we're seeing that mountain snow is the last of the rain and moisture that had moved its way through this weekend. What's coming up next is this ridge of high pressure. That's going to move its way into the region. It's a ridge of high pressure, so that means it's going to stable us out. It's going to keep us mostly dry. Mostly. Starting today into tomorrow, you can see how dry we are, just some cloud cover moving its way through until this hits. This is Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It's just a small disturbance in the ridge of high pressure. It's nothing crazy, and I think even this is a bit dramatic. Likely what we're going to see from this band here is more scattered showers that are going to be pretty light that are moving their way through the region. Again, this is Wednesday morning. Once that moves out, though, we're pretty dry again. So when you're looking overall pattern for the week, we're quite dry, especially compared to what we saw this past weekend with all of our rain and all of our wind. We stay dry. This is Thursday, right? The next chance for rain doesn't come until Friday. Friday's Halloween. We'll talk about that in a second, but for now, let's get to today. We're 33 degrees here in Spokane now, 37 out in Coeur d'Alene, and we're warming up to basically average temperatures. You could argue slightly below, but we're still in the realm of normal here. We're going to be in the high 40s here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Some spots like Moses Lake and Ritzville hitting the 50s, but either way, very average seasonable temperatures. We want to talk about tomorrow because tomorrow is going to be freezing for your low temperature, below freezing likely. There's also a chance for some fog. So you add fog with freezing temperatures. That means the chance for black ice on the roads and slick conditions. So be extra careful if you're heading out the door tomorrow morning, especially here in the inland Northwest. Now we can finally talk about Halloween. Friday, you can see that chance for showers. There's a chance for showers because our models are basically split 60-40. One model says we're totally going to be seeing rain. The other says we end up in the rain shadow of the Cascades. Let's hope for that for Halloween.
Well, it is always good to prepare for a wet Halloween just in case and be pleasantly surprised. While we talk about Halloween, it is beginning to look a lot like ski season in other parts of the country. One of our Weather Out West communities is the first in the country to open ski resorts this weekend. We'll show you where after the break. Big news in Colorado. 2 ski resorts are now open for the season. This includes Keystone Resort and Arapahoe Basin, also in Keystone. These are the first 2 resorts to open for skiing in North America. All right, I'm not seeing a lot of snow there, though. Each year they try to get the jump on each other to be the first ones to open their doors, and it does look like there are quite a few people who are anxious to get that first taste of that winter snow. Well, now that the cold weather has officially arrived, do you ever wonder what happens to the creepy, crawly creatures during the winter? I don't know if I wonder about that. I'm happy to see them go. Denver's Corey Rippenhagen went to an expert to find out the answer.
When the consistent cold of winter arrives in Colorado, those creepy, crawly insects and arachnids will start to disappear.
So they're truly cold-blooded. And the colder it gets, the slower that they get to a point where they actually are not active.
But most of them don't die. In fact, entomologist Robert Hancock at Metro State University says bugs have many amazing and interesting ways of surviving winter.
So spiders and insects both can produce their own antifreeze chemistry to lower the freezing point of their body fluids. And that's crucial to survival.
Some insects, like ladybugs, huddle together in vast numbers. Some migrate to a warmer climate. And some lay eggs in the cold water underneath the ice. There's even a mosquito that lays eggs under the mountain snowpack.
They call them snowmelt mosquitoes. And in the spring, when the snow slowly melts, it hatches their eggs and then they start their business.
And Hancock says there are some bugs that are just like us. They go inside when it gets cold.
And most often the ones that are coming into my house are earwigs and squash bugs and box elder bugs. Those are the big 3 that come into the Hancock house.
And if you're hoping a really harsh winter might diminish the next generation of bugs next summer, think again. Hancock says insects are resilient. Take the mosquito, for instance.
Mosquitoes reproduce like weeds, and they can bounce back with tremendous ferocity.
Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen for the 9 News Weather Impact Team.
All right, there you have it. The more you know. And the cold is arriving in Denver. Sub-freezing overnight lows are dominating this week's forecast, but our team is also watching thunderstorm chances to start the week in Colorado.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Saban. And we are heading into the last week of October, and it has been a glorious fall in our state. We still have color, leaves on the trees. It's been great for horseback riding, adventuring, playing football, going out for a walk with the dog. It's been great. But we are tracking a little bit of a change. Now, many of our resorts are starting to open or trying to open, and there's not a lot of snow in the Colorado high country. So this system approaching us today from the northwest, even though it's going to clip northern Colorado and the jet will keep most of the precipient energy away from us, it's going to bring in a couple inches of snow to the northern and central mountains, which is helpful. We have a lot of rain impacting travel today from St. Louis to Memphis to New Orleans and to Atlanta. And of course, we're tracking dangerous Hurricane Melissa that is threatening Haiti and Jamaica today. So that's another weather story. The jet stream is carrying most of the precipitation from the Pacific Northwest through the central Rockies into the Midwest and then down through again St. Louis and Atlanta. And that's where we expect the biggest impact for travel today with storms approaching. Although our storm from the northwest will bring a rain snow mix from Steamboat, Glenwood Springs to Aspen, an isolated shower to the Front Range, we're going to see a little bit of a cool down today, a windy day, and there may be a few showers that actually make it to the ground east of Lyman, Akron, Yuma, and Ray later in the afternoon. Might even have a couple of thunderstorms pop up out on the eastern plains, while the mountains will see 2 to 4 inches of snow. Red flag warning out for high fire danger today from Colorado Springs down to the Pueblo area. And we're looking at temperatures trending a little cooler than Sunday, but still above average. We have upper 60s today, a cooler 50 on Tuesday, 50s Wednesday, Thursday. Halloween doesn't look scary at all. It'll be dry with 50s for the end of the week, and then a nice warming trend for Saturday. Actually, next Sunday, we could see sunshine and 70s.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. This past weekend, Colorado officially opened ski season, at least Keystone and A Basin. Still looking like fall up over Loveland ski area, but they continue to make snow, some colder air rolling into the state, and some weather expected to kick off the week on this October 27th. We do have winter weather advisories to the north of Colorado this afternoon through the evening. The Sierra Madres, a snowy range, could be seeing anywhere between 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. System staying a little bit north of Colorado, but it will bring in some very gusty winds and moderate snow shower activity at times to our northern high country. In and around the Denver area, breezy conditions. Winds will be very gusty, upwards of 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts at times from the west. Later on today, colder air arrives. Our first widespread hard freeze of the season, well below freezing temperatures. Looking ahead to the end of the week, though, our Halloween outlook is looking not too spooky, mild and dry. But for today, good chance for seeing some rainfall across the eastern plains, snow into our northern, then central mountains. The I-70 drive here in town may be impacted briefly by some winter driving conditions, but skies will clear out very quickly. So not a lot of notable precipitation, a few light showers for the Denver area, but could see some notable rain over the far eastern plains. Our snowfall forecast, nothing major. The National Weather Service has not issued any winter weather advisories for Colorado's high country. Less than an inch expected near Steamboat, but around 1 to 3 for Breckenridge and Loveland ski area. Now in Denver, our average low is 33 degrees this time of the year. The record was 8 set back in 2020. We're not talking record-setting conditions, but colder air is arriving. We're expecting 31, clearing skies, blustery conditions. Lows in the mountains will only be in the teens to kick off the day, and then Wednesday will be our coldest morning we have seen so far this season. 25 the expected low. Taking us through the rest of the week, a gradual warm up, a dry weather pattern, then slightly above average temperatures. Usually we see a high of around 60. We'll be right there, seasonal, not too scary for the forecast on Halloween, and trick-or-treaters will be treated with some dry and cool conditions.
All right, and you've heard many of our meteorologists mention it. Halloween, of course, everyone's trying to figure out, do we need to prep the kids for wet weather? While most in the Northwest are preparing for fall rain chances just in time for Halloween, California kids are looking out with sunshine and 70s. The forecast from northern to southern California are next. Later on as well, we are getting a look at how people are preparing for record-breaking Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. We'll have the latest on that storm also after the break. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Fall made a brief appearance in Northern California, but dreary weather is disappearing. Rob Carlmark is in Sacramento with the mild forecast here for the final few days of October in Northern California.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carlmark out here in Northern California, where we've got some very nice weather on the way. This last weekend was kind of weird. It was cold. We had some light, sprinkly rain, almost a mist for a couple hours for both Saturday and then again on Sunday. And then now we're just in the clear. For a lot of people, this is Halloween week. You know, sure, Halloween day, which is going to be on a Friday, which is going to be huge. But the week leading up to it, there might be some earlier Halloween parties or trunk or treats or just things going on. And we have just really nice classic weather for us around here this entire week. Now, at a glance, it's been amazing as I've been updating this calendar using Sacramento as an example. Every single month, July, cooler than normal. August, September, and October, there's just no way we're going to all of a sudden have some late season heat here, folks. It's going to go down as a cooler than average month with just a handful of warmer days. So just a really great month of fall. And because we've seen some cooler conditions, lacking fire conditions as well, you know, even though this year 500,000 acres has burned with more than 7,500 fires, it's a little bit worse than last year. But compared to the 5-year average, you know, it's not been bad at all. And because of that, we don't have any smoke issues. Usually when we're showing you something like this, it's because of big wildfires and large areas of smoke that could be moving around. It could be other states as well. But now we've moved into a nice, cooler, rainy season for essentially the West Coast. And now we're just not seeing it. Now what you're going to get smoke-wise is very, very, very localized smoky conditions. Basically wood burning in your fireplace, which with the colder air will go up and then collapse and then just kind of linger around in your neighborhood. So here on out, at least locally, it's all about burn days or non-burn days, just depending on the weather conditions. If it's a cold night with stagnant air and sinking air, they advise you not to do it, or they can even ban you or fine you. Our pattern is pretty simple. It's going to be dry and it's going to be nice. And we're just looking at overall great conditions. By the way, this is a La Nina year officially, and we are here in Northern California, sort of in between what they expect to be drier conditions for the South and wetter conditions for the Pacific Northwest. But they are pretty confident we're going to see warmer than normal conditions when you look at the seasonal average for December, January, and February, which is really the prime of our winter and our rainy season. Temperatures today are going to be in the 60s, just a beautiful day for the foothills. Fall colors happening everywhere. Then for places near Yosemite National Park, the southern end of the San Joaquin Valley, lots of 60s along the coast. Bay Area mix of 60s and 70s. Once you get away from that cold ocean, it's all about the 70s. Far Northern California, do I repeat myself? 60s and 70s. But then along the immediate coast, we're looking at conditions that are going to be cool, nice, mild, and highs in the 50s. For the Sacramento area, it's all about the low 70s. I mean, think about your perfect day. We've got fall colors. We've got some loose leaves rumbling around. We've got absolutely perfect weather from sunup to sundown. It's just going to be great. And it's regionally speaking, there really isn't anything. We're going to have to go into the middle of next week to really see any sort of conditions that are changing. So we've got just some absolutely fantastic weather this entire week. Halloween evening is going to be great in the 60s and dry, and next week mostly dry as well.
All right, Northern California, I think you win. You have the best forecast so far. Well, it is a similar sunny situation in San Diego. In fact, summer-like heat is heading to Southern California. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz is watching the 80s and even 90s in some spots in San Diego County.
Happy Monday and Halloween week from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. I thought it would be fun to start off with a viewer photo, especially as we kick off Halloween week. This is from Heaney. I hope I'm saying that right. And this is a day and night version of her outdoor decor. It's obviously a dinosaur, skeleton dinosaur with a human skeleton on top of it. I thought it was a really fun photo that was submitted to us because usually we get kind of landscape views and views of the weather. And this one was just to switch it up a bit. All right, here are weather headlines as we kick off a new work week. We will have Week Santa Ana is taking hold starting tomorrow. The heat will be on repeat as well starting Tuesday, lasting through most of the week, and it will be breezy with elevated fire danger. Remember, we started off the water year not very strong, so the vegetation is very dry. We haven't really seen significant rainfall whatsoever, so that's why a lot of those areas, especially wind-prone areas, are susceptible to wildfire danger, especially with this heat up and the dry brush out there. All right, high temperatures for your Monday look like this. Will be a little warmer than Sunday afternoon. Daytime highs for the inland valleys will top out in the mid to high 70s. A little cooler, but not by much for the coastal neighborhoods. We'll top out in the mid to low 70s from Oceanside all the way to Carlsbad. Spots like Del Mar will be stuck in the 60s, 68 later on this afternoon. High 70s in Julian as well as Alpine in mid to high 80s for Borrego Springs. All right, as we take a look at aloft, about 500 millibars or so, we have this area of high pressure and that will amplify easterly flow. So typically what we see, the normal pattern, especially for Southern California, is we have that westerly flow. Those winds coming offshore, making their way onshore from the west. But we'll have the opposite. And as those winds kind of descend down the mountains into the valley areas, they speed up and they warm the surrounding air parcels. So that has triggered, it will trigger a slew of advisories, heat advisories for all of these areas highlighted in the orange color. For us here in San Diego, it will be impacting the inland and mountain areas Tuesday and Wednesday. It's just a reminder to stay hydrated, especially if you work outside. Make sure that you're taking frequent breaks in the shade and check on those susceptible to heat-related illnesses and make sure that they have adequate cooling systems and also neighbors as well. If your neighbors, again, don't have AC, maybe you check on them as well. Our wind gust Futurecast here showcases that onshore flow, so those winds coming kind of out of the north, that northerly flow. Notice what happens as we fast forward to Tuesday, those winds shift out of the east. So again, as I mentioned, they strengthen once they descend down the mountains, and they also warm the surrounding air. We are expected those wind gusts to peak anywhere between 30 to maybe 40 miles per hour, so especially along the canyons, passes, and mountain areas. Overnight lows will be rather cool this evening in the mid to high 50s for the coast and valleys. Upper 40s for the mountains and low 60s for our deserts. When we compare to what we're used to seeing versus what we're expecting Tuesday afternoon, daytime highs will shoot anywhere between 2 to about 15 degrees above normal. Here's what's on tap. Although we're looking at a heat up this week, we do fall back Saturday night into Sunday, so make sure that you turn the clocks back 1 hour. So despite the heat up that we're expecting, the bright side is at least we get an hour of sleep, right? That's the trade-off. The mountains and desert areas, we're talking about the heat peaking Thursday and Friday into Saturday and then simmering down a little bit towards the latter part of the weekend.
Phoenix's forecast mirrors San Diego's warm temperatures. A look at the sunshine in the desert is up after the break. To the desert now, a furry fugitive was discovered hiding in a palm tree in Arizona. First responders worked together to rescue this young black bear last Saturday. Rescuers named him Ted and plan to relocate him back to northern Arizona. Well, the bear may have been trying to find some shade in Arizona. 80s and 90s with plentiful sunshine are here to stay in the desert. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is in Phoenix with the forecast.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. A look at weather out west across Arizona, where, we are having a little bit of a warming trend. Started talking about this last week. Even though numbers are above the normal range, high pressure definitely commanding the landscape. As you can see, we've got nothing but clear skies on the board. These temperatures not quite to record territory. For us, we need to be closer to 100 degrees, even though we're on, the last week of October. Temperatures are above normal, just not record worthy. So So Yuma, that means about 90 for you today. I've got 79 in Kingman, 68 at the Grand Canyon, 77 in Winslow, 85 in Safford, 88 in Tucson, and our official high about 89 degrees in Phoenix. So anytime we talk about high pressure, that means we are going to, for the most part, have clear skies. A couple thin clouds entering into the mix. But all in all, this commanding high pressure, keeping all the moisture, all the cool air well to the north of us. And I mean, this is going to be a theme for us for at least the next 4 to 5 days. Look at this stretch that we have through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It does look like the peak of this warm up will be Tuesday, and then we gradually start to trend down. But still, we are looking for above normal conditions at least the next 5 days. In fact, the next 6 to 10 days, not only are our temperatures above the normal range, but we do appear to be below the normal range as far as any kind of rainfall. So it's going to be warm and it's going to be dry, and this is going to be a theme that's going to take us through at least the next 7 days. So what are we looking for in the Valley of the Sun, where yes, sunshine is going to be commanding? I've got 88 in Mesa, about 87 in Scottsdale. Today, Goodyear, you should pop up to 90 degrees. I know you don't want to see 90s this late in the season. Our average final day of 90-degree heat comes around October 30th. So we're still within the realm of what would be considered normal, even though we're slightly edging our average temperature. So today in Phoenix, on this Monday, we've got sunny and warm conditions. Daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s, where, as you can see, is pretty normal for us, but thankfully we're not hitting record territory. So no triple digits on the board. As far as yesterday, to kind of put it into a framework of what we're trending, yesterday we were in the 90s. Today we're going to be just below that. But again, we are looking to warm tomorrow, as tomorrow should be the warmest day of the week for us. So enjoy the evenings. It's going to be nice and clear and mild. Winds are calm. As far as the wind in the higher elevations, we'll get a little pop in the wind after about the noon hour. But I mean, look at this. That's not much movement out there. We got a big goose egg overnight as well. So this is going to set the stage for what I'm expecting to be the warmest day of your week, which means about 92 in Phoenix, 75 in Sedona, and 58 in Flagstaff. As we look ahead for our UV index, remember, as these temperatures are above the normal range and we've got commanding sunshine, do remember to put on your sunscreen, because your UV index is at a 5, giving you less than 30 minutes outside before you burn. All right, overnight conditions still very reminiscent of the season. I mean, look at this. We're down at the point of freezing in Flagstaff, but temperatures are going to be climbing into the upper 70s for this weekend. For you and me here in the Valley, we are going to be in the 90s at least for Tuesday through Thursday, but temperatures will be a little closer to normal for the weekend.
Hurricane Melissa is expected to make landfall as a Category 5 hurricane in the next day. Up next, how communities impacted are preparing for the record-strong storm. Finally today, Hurricane Melissa reached Category 5 status this morning. The National Hurricane Center is forecasting Melissa will reach Jamaica Tuesday morning, likely to be the strongest storm to ever hit the island. Officials say life-threatening flash floods and landslides are expected. The U.S. is not expected to feel any direct threats from Melissa, although some parts of the East Coast could see rip currents and rough surf. Here's the director of the National Hurricane Center talking about what Jamaica could see.
We've seen the rainfall projections of upwards of 3 feet of rain, 3 feet, over 30 inches of rain. You have to talk about it in feet. It's so much. It hits that mountainside and it's got to come down instantaneously, and it creates an instant flash flood. But when it comes down, it comes down with mud and debris and rocks, and that's what causes these landslides. And then all that water tries to go into the ocean. It's going to try to go into the ocean, and the storm surge is going to stop it. Like the storm surge pushing up against this southern coastline is going to stop all that water from trying to flow into the ocean. And that collision is going to create this flooding potential that we've been trying desperately to talk about.
And of course, we will keep you updated as the storm develops throughout the week and keep an eye on those impacts from Hurricane Melissa. Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Monday, October 27th. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Thank you so much for staying with us today. We will see you right back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great week.